EDC regular board meeting. Today is November the 7th, 22, and we're calling this meeting at 6 p.m. Can I get a roll call, please?
Daryl Anderson, Beverly Raymond, Christopher Smith, Ellen Clark, Harold Doucette, Jerry LeBeau,
Here.
Rhonda Connor. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Doucette, could we get an invocation, please, and pledge?
Let's all recite the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done
on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us
this day our daily bread. We forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The minutes from October 3rd, no? Well, you all had a copy of the minutes, and any questions? Can I get a motion? Second? I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carried. Presentation, we have none. Communication, 2023 Port Arthur EDC Board meeting schedule. We have that in our package. Any questions?
There is a notation for January the 10th being annual. Is that going to be our annual meeting?
Yes, ma'am. That's the annual meeting where you'll vote for officers.
Questions? No? Good. Speakers? Any speakers? No speakers. Reports? None. Unfinished business? Discuss and consider awarding a bid and entering into an agreement for the janitorial services at the press building. Crystal?
Thank you, Chair. Okay, this item here, the EDC went out for requests for proposals on this particular item for janitorial services at the press building. We did put together a committee of 3 staff members and 1 board member. Everyone did blind reviews of those proposals that were submitted by the different entities, and our purchasing department over at the City of Port Arthur tallied up all of those scores, and the highest scoring company is who we are recommending to you this evening, which is Diamond Shine Building Services.
Questions?
It's Chris. Okay, that's the one that you all wanted? I mean, over here.
With the 4 different persons that reviewed this RFP, that is who came out on top.
Who were they?
Myself, Jana Barnes, Rachel Jackett, and Miss Ellen Clark.
Okay, thank you. No other questions.
Any other questions? Motion?
So moved.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes. Consent agenda, none. Non-consent agenda items. Number 1, discuss and consider a letter of intent from Mid-County Plaza LLC. Crystal?
Yes, sir. I'd like to take items 1 and 2 into executive session for discussion.
Sure, we could bring up item number 2 as well, and then announce going into closed session.
Discuss and consider
It's
economic
real estate, right?
incentive.
Economic development deal or real estate? So it's under real estate. It's a real estate.
One is real estate, two is economic incentives.
Okay. Charlie,
Yes, sir.
real estate
Yes, sir.
isn't open.
If it's, you
If
can
it-
go into closed session to discuss real estate matters if it has to have to do with value of the property, and the discussion in open session would be detrimental to discussions with a third party.
Okay, then that's the key right there.
Yes, sir.
So what we'll discuss can interfere with a third party. Okay. All right.
1 and 2 we're bringing in? No problem?
No problem.
Thank you. Number 3, discuss and consider engaging the legal services of the Chapman Firm LLC. Crystal?
Sir, as you all are aware, we are reaching the final stages of the construction over at 549 4th Street. As a matter of fact, as of today, the 7th of November, the contractor has indicated that they have finished all of their punch list items and all of the work over there. So we are at a point where we would like to close this project out. As we have not had a formal project manager on this project, it is recommendation to engage the Chapman firm, which has experience in construction projects and closeouts, so that we can make sure that all of our T's are crossed and I's are dotted when it comes to information and correspondence regarding this closeout.
And if it's just a matter of closing things out, we don't anticipate it would be that much money associated with it. You know, lawyers always want to make sure they get their revenue, but in this case, I'm not comfortable doing the closeout work and making sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. I don't have anybody on staff, excuse me, that has what I consider the expertise necessary on these construction law issues. Construction law issues are pretty specialized. They're case law driven, and if you miss something, it could cause you problems. So I just want to make sure we have someone who is overseeing it, make sure it gets closed out properly, and that we don't create any legal issues for ourselves. That's the main purpose.
The questions?
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, if you're talking about closing and closing out, we need to have someone that understands engineering, that when they go down this list and they go through, do a walkthrough, anything that need to be done, they could list that and get it done before we close. Before we write it off. So I'm glad we're getting somebody that has the professional knowledge to look at that and look at all of the things. And they're gonna go by the specification, right, Charlie?
So what Jeff Chapman is, it's the Chapman Law Firm, and I don't know who he'll put on the file, but what Jeff's role is, so Jeff Chapman, the Chapman Law Firm, all they do is construction law. That's it, transactional and litigation. We may have to bring in a separate engineer if we have questions about any engineering issues. I doubt that's going to be an issue. What I want to make sure is that, from a legal perspective, that if we close out this project, we're closing it out in a way that protects our interests in case down the road we find out that there is an issue that needs to be resolved, or it's closed down in a way that there's no liability for the corporation. And I don't have that legal expertise or knowledge in my firm to assist with that.
Oh, I'm more concerned with the building aspect of it.
Yes,
Sir. Because, the closing is gonna be a document
Yes.
that we're gonna have to close, and it could be specified everything. But what I'm concerned with, was the job done right, and was it done for what we paid? Because we don't have that expertise. But if we don't recognize it now and then down the road, that's the problem that
I agree. Yes, sir.
be more concerned with, is the work. Because the paperwork pretty much is going to be pretty much someone who really understands what it's written. And I understand you bringing in Chapman in, mainly to understand the writing and what it's saying. But my concern is, when we say okay,
it is okay.
I agree with you, sir. Yes, sir. And part of that process will be as we finish out the punch list items, and it's my understanding that staff has been working on getting those punch out lists closed out. And if upon the review, we believe that we need to have a particular set of skill sets going in there to make sure that punch out is done consistent with the building standards that we expect to be done and are required under the contract, we will do that. Yes, sir.
That's my main concern. Okay, thank you.
The questions?
I make a motion that we approve the legal services of Chapman Firm.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Number 4, discuss and consider ratification and acceptance of proposal in engaging the services of SciTech Omni for microbial cleaning services, 549 4th Street. Crystal?
Yes, Chair. This particular item, there was a situation where in one of our leased kitchens over at 549th Street, there were some unknown microbial growth in the kitchen itself. So to not hold up and let it get out of hand, we've gone ahead and engaged the services of SciTech Omni to do the microbial cleaning of the space. They did do that over this past weekend. We had a company come do air quality testing on it, and I received, as a matter of fact, just a couple of minutes ago, that the air quality has passed. So Lamar can actually go back into that space tomorrow morning. So I'm asking the board to go ahead and ratify that payment to SciTech Omni in the amount of $5,800.
Moved.
One thing regarding that issue, what are we gonna do for long-term? Okay, this happened this one time. So what's the plan for long-term?
So I have asked the testing company if they can give me a recommendation on long-term maintenance type testing. So I'm awaiting his response, and I will definitely let the board know what that plan might be moving forward.
If I may-
Crystal,
You can go ahead, Ms. Goodman.
so are we thinking the problem was caused because of the temperature not being regulated to begin with?
So there are several possible factors, and unfortunately we cannot pin down one or the other, because there were several things going on, such as one of our vent hoods wasn't shutting off, that could have contributed to it. There was issues with the HVAC and the issues with the humidity levels in there. So there were several factors that we just can't pinpoint as to which one was the cause of the issue.
That was one of the reasons why we're leaning toward there actually being an engineering study of that building, because it was one of maybe 3 things that it could be, but we did not have any definitive answers. And that's one of the reasons why we would like to have an engineering firm go into that building and check it over before we actually do the closeout. Okay, but we wanted to make sure that before we did that, and this was the decision of the committee, before we did that we made sure that we had a lawyer that would be involved just in case we found some problems.
So the engineering firm, we haven't brought this up to the board yet. Is that correct?
Yes, no, right now we are going to, our first step is to engage the Chapman firm, and then from there, with his recommendations on how to move forward, if that'll be the case, then we will bring that to the board.
Okay. Any other questions? Can I get a motion?
I've already moved.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Next is discuss and consider enter into a lease agreement with Glenda Chalo Net Worth, unblocking your, I guess that's their name, Destiny, with Suite 121A at the Press Building?
Sir, this is a standard lease agreement with a small business for space at the 549 4th Street Press Building.
What are they going to be doing, Crystal?
This, I believe, now I would like to get more information for the board. I don't have a definitive. Janet Barnes was the one who worked with these companies, and I unfortunately do not have too much information or background on them. I want to say they are a consulting company, but I don't have all those details for you tonight.
Let me ask you, Crystal, since how many we have? One, two.
There are 3 leases on your
three.
agenda tonight.
Is it, and this is the board, but you know, my thought is, since we're going to be getting our new CEO in a week, I'm wondering if we could, and we don't vent these people. We really don't. We just give them a spot and start charging them. Is that correct? So we really don't know. I don't say legit. I hate to say that, but we don't know what their plans are or anything like that. I'm wondering if we could hold off on this until let him or whoever get a procedure in place.
It's the pleasure of the board.
Well,
Terry, I just want to know what it is that we can't proceed with this. This is a lease, okay? We're trying to lease space. Somebody applied for the space. We got the person over there doing the thing and bringing it to us, okay? You know, so at the end of the day, you know, I could say in the future, and the new CEO is here, when we ask a question like that, it should be answered. If we're going to have something to be approved dealing with rental, then the CEO get with the person that's handling that so that they can know everything about it. So if they're not going to be here, our questions could be answered. But if we're going to hold this up, I just want to know why we want to hold it up. I don't think holding it up so that the new CEO look at it, incoming, is going to be a reason to do this. Because, you know, we meet once a month. It ain't like we're going to come back next week and say, okay, we holding something up. You know, if this is in the process and it's a rental of the lease, we need to move forward with it. You know, we could set the precedents in the future. Make sure that somebody here is going to be answering the questions. But unless there's a question that really we need to know, I don't think we should hold this up for a whole month.
yeah, possibly not. It was just never even any procedures set up. And that should have been done. That's behind us now. And we can move forward with that later on, maybe.
Well, that's why I say we can always set procedure. We could put this on for discussion next time, and we could do it. But right now, I'm leery about whenever things come to us that we delay it for a month unless there's a real good reason that is important that we do that. And in this case, I haven't heard that maybe there is.
My thing with that is we're not giving them anything. It's a lease. It's income. The idea is to lease the space that we have available to small businesses. They're signing the lease. The worst thing they can do is not pay the lease and we have to put them out. I mean, I don't even know what a vetting process would be for a lease agreement. I can see if we were giving them something or we was expecting something from them. We just want them to pay the lease. You know, I don't understand that. So my thing would not even be to put a process in place. As long as somebody wants it and they sign the lease, I mean, that's money on the table. That's the idea behind the whole building. So I'm kind of lost.
Okay.
Well, so I think what you can do, Jerry, is just go on and put it on for next meeting for a discussion, and at that time we can request that the CEO put down some type of procedure that he's going to use to start. And since you're asking that, you got a much idea what you're talking about. You could get with them, and then they could have something on the agenda, and we could just say, yeah, okay, then that's good. Or we say, no, we need to do this to do that, and then we'll get what you need done And also we can move with this, if that's okay.
Other comments?
I have one question, Crystal. I thought we had completely leased out all the space that we had available. Okay, are these replacements for people that were already leased, or are these new leases for new spots?
So Triangle Enterprises, number 6 on your agenda, they are actually going to be moving spaces. They are trading spaces. So theirs actually came up. Glenda Chilo Net Worth and Blocking, as well as K8 Global Services. Those are 2 new leases that would be going into spaces that were not leased out, or that those leases fell through.
One's trading into, okay. Any other questions? Can I get a motion?
Moved. Moved.
Got a motion second, all in favor? Against? Motion carried.
Here. Yeah. I'll make a comment.
Yeah.
Anything for action, right? We have to bring it to the floor. So that's when you read it, we make a motion, we get a second. Now it's to the floor. Anyone have a question? Or if she's gonna comment, right? Let her comment, and anybody have a question, because right now we're getting confused. I know I am, because you asked for a motion after she talked, but we actually supposed to put it on the floor before we discuss or talk about anything. So it'd be easier to follow. I'm not trying to say we've been doing
Okay.
something wrong. It'd be easy to follow. Let's put it on the floor with a motion and a second. And once it's there, now we start discussing. And then once it's all discussed, no more questions, then we just vote on it and then we move on.
Okay, then number 6, discuss and consider entering into a lease agreement with Triangle Enterprises for Suite 206A at the Press Building. That's the trade you said, Crystal, right?
Yes, sir.
So moved.
Got a motion second, all in favor?
Okay. Okay, question.
Question?
Now she can comment if anybody need to comment. That's all, that's the way we could do
Okay.
it, though, bring it on the floor. Then she can explain it, or anybody could comment. And if nobody comment, then we move on. So you want to comment on this one?
Sir,
Okay.
this is
Let's go.
just the company that will be trading spaces.
All right.
Okay.
I'm ready to vote, Jay. Vote. Vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. That was a trade. Number 7, discuss and consider entering into a lease agreement with K8 Global Services LLC for 207 at the Press Building.
So moved.
Any questions? Vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Discuss and consider allocating job training funds for 5 Port Arthur resident high school 2023 graduates to attend a two-year training program at Lamar State College, Port Arthur.
Sir, this is,
Second. So moved.
Second.
Okay, now.
Now discussion.
Okay. Then you discuss it.
okay, so this here is the annual program that the board has done over the past couple of years to provide training funds to 5 high school graduates coming out of high school and that are going to attend Lamar State College in high-demand job training facets. Now, we are asking for this is the 5 students, so this is $13,500 per student, total of $67,500. This is in your budget.
Questions?
I have one question on this program, and I know we've done it in the past. But as I understand it, the students that go to the Woodrow Wilson, what is it, early college campus? Well, they go to Lamar. They're not eligible for our scholarship because of the way it's worded or because of the fact that they're actually college students. So they're being penalized because of the fact that they got in the program and went to college. And so I'm wondering, is that something we can look at to see if those funds would be available to them also?
The thing, I think the program regarding Lamar, the memorial that's in place, when they graduate from their college, they have a two-year degree. And basically, this is what this is, a two-year degree. So it's basically a two-year program. And they have an advantage, really, because they've already graduated.
They were too.
Right.
But see, really and truly, it's as though we're penalizing them because they're not eligible for our scholarship, even though they're going to go on to college for a four-year degree. And so I'm wondering if that's something we can look at down the road to see if we can include them.
They're getting their college degree free as well. Even though they're not getting a scholarship, they still getting their two-year degree free. So they're not paying anything, but we can look into it.
Well, I think it's balanced out in the end, Ellen, because they go to early college, but not every student that can go there is selected to go. You're at school, so you can see if I'm wrong. So those kids that are not elected to go there, they don't have the opportunity to get the additional college courses and stuff. So actually, they go in there, they're not being penalized. I think the people penalized are the people who didn't get the opportunity to go. So this goes toward those people. So I think it kind of even the ball field up the way I look at it. They getting something everybody couldn't get. So why can't we give something to those that couldn't get what they got?
Typically, a lot of your students that are going to that early college program or whatever, you're better students, okay? And so when they end up going into the other 2 years of their college, okay, they're not necessarily getting the scholarships that are available. They've already got their two-year degree. I understand what you're saying. Okay. But I'm saying this is still $13,500 that we can be given to a student, whether or not you're going for your 2-year or your 4-year.
Yeah, but the student.
Chair, Mr. Chair, I don't mean to be too picky and a lawyer, but this agenda item is all about allocating under the current program. If we'd like to have a discussion about how we should allocate in the future based on the program requirements, that should be placed on a future agenda for discussion. This agenda item is allocating job training funds for 5 Port Arthur resident school students under the current policy. My understanding is we have a current policy in place on how we do this.
And there is a committee also in place that can have those discussions and reevaluate the policies.
Else?
I understand what he's.
Okay, we're gonna vote on it, I guess? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Discuss and consider a youth employment program for 2023 graduates.
Second.
Okay,
This item here, Chair, it is a little vague on your agenda, but we are asking to allocate job training funds for this program as well. This is an annual program that the board has done over the past years. It is a summer employment program for high school graduating students as well. This particular program, we are asking to fund up to 20 students. And that is up to 20 because it'll be dependent on those that apply and qualify for the actual program.
This is for the summer.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If it's for the summer, what is going to be the pay? You say we're going to allocate so much money, but what is the pay? We seem like that's going to that's gonna determine how many, so why don't you,
The not to exceed amount for this item is $83,200. It is at $13 per hour per student.
per student, so then you can't, so you know how many you're gonna have if we give you the amount.
Well, we're allocating that much so that we can not exceed 20 students.
Okay, got you now.
Basically, this program is for students that coming out of high school and they work for the summer and basically go on to college, or exactly what I know we've been having for a while, but exactly what is the purpose of the youth program?
So Ms. Lee can come up and give you a little bit more detail on her program. These are her employment and training programs.
Good evening, Board. So basically, the YEP program, which is our Youth Employment Program, has been in place for quite some time. I don't know if you recall, but in the past, we partnered up with like Team Fabricators, Robogistics, the City of Port Arthur. Well, the purpose of the program is because most of these jobs are actually in our community, and Robogistics, I'm going to use them as an example. They've retained our students that actually went through our Youth Employment Program and literally paid them more than what we actually paid them once the program was over. So it's an opportunity for students that may not be able to go to college or may want to stay local to have a local job. So it's worked perfect. I know one of the students actually got hired on with the City of Port Arthur in our health department as well. Then we had a few students this past summer that a couple of employers wanted them to stay, but of course they opted to go to either a 4-year college or a 2-year institution to get a technical degree. So basically the program has worked in the past.
I thought we had a problem with students not finding a place for the students to work or something.
Now all of them were actually placed. It's just that we lost a few of them because we had other companies or employers that were paying a greater wage than what we actually offered. Yeah.
Nana, how do you go out there? What I was thinking on, if we could find employees that would hire these students, that would have a possible chance to get real employment, it would be better than just putting them out there like at the city, which the city's a rarity if they even would hire anybody. Or like we put 2 at the EDC building, knowing that we're not gonna hire no one. But we did just, we paid them, which is good, just to pay kids. But still, I was wondering if we could, or you could, or however, find the people first that would hire the kids, and then that way we'd know how many kids we actually gonna sponsor.
That's what I've done in the past, and we work with actual employers that are located in our business park. We did that in the past. We're actually going to put a couple of students at the distillery, but that went a certain way to where I guess you can say the scheduling was kind of off, and it was causing them to work on the weekend. So in the past, I go out and I actually recruit businesses to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other, yeah?
No, that's good. I just wanted to reiterate, but I see she's doing it, so that's good. That's what we really need, to send them where there's a potential for them to be hired there, stuff. So you're doing it good.
Okay.
Okay, that's the way.
And I would like to see the board, if any board members or anybody else, it doesn't matter, don't have to be board members, that would know anyone that would be hiring or willing to hire, that could get with you and give you a lead.
Yeah, that'd
Where
be
you
perfect.
wouldn't have to work so hard to find these people.
I appreciate
Because
it.
like I said, well, I didn't say, but 13-something an hour sounds good, but they paying way more than that at lots of places,
Yes, they are.
Yeah, it's for kids, but if we put them in there and we paying for it, and if they do a good job and the people looking for a prospective hire anyway, that'll get, they don't have to pay them, and we get them chances to get a good employee. And if we do it that way, I think we got a better chance of keeping them there if we put them there where there's a possibility, as opposed to just a summer job and, hey, you get on here and then you go.
I agree.
But you're already doing it, so I'm not going to kick that horse. We just keep going that direction, I guess.
Okay. Thanks.
Anybody else? Thank you, Renata. Can I get a vote?
So moved. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's time to vote. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? No, I ain't.
No. Well, we gonna get a
Motion passed, carried. Number 10, discuss and consider another lease with Suite 321 at 501 Proctor here with Guff Stone Environmental Services LLC.
Second.
Got a motion and a second?
This agenda item, Chair, is actually not a new lease agreement. This is a current lease agreement that you already have with a tenant here in Suite 321 of this building. Their lease began in September of this year, so they are 2 months in. They have been paying on time. This particular tenant has requested to terminate his lease. Unfortunately, he was not able to procure the contracts that he expected here in the city. So he would like to request the board allow him to get out of his lease. They have not moved into the premises. The premises were not altered. So the board does have options to either hold them to their lease, allow them to assign or sublease, or negotiate a termination of the lease. I'm sorry? They never moved in, no.
Well,
They paid.
Well, they never moved in. That's their issue. They know what they're doing. They leased it. They signed a lease. So evidently they were setting up an office for it to be locally so that they could obtain a job and say, I'm from Port Arthur. So when that fell through, so now you want to get out your lease. There are things that I think I would consider myself. But no. They have a lease, and that lease should have some type of agreement for termination, okay? So whatever the agreement says in the lease on how it can be terminated and what the things are is what we should go by. If he hasn't moved in the building yet, he just could continue paying for it. I mean, what's the difference? He said he never moved in, so because you're not moving in, it's not a reason we're gonna let this lease go because that space has not been up for a lease because you've been in it. And now you want to terminate the lease? No, because we can start advertising for that space when that lease expires. I mean, we can do that. We can manage that where we can have it prepared to be leased. But having it leased for 9 months and then someone says, well, I like to get out the next 3 months, because the job fell through and we're not coming here. And we really haven't moved in, so you could lease it. No, we might not lease this space for another 3-4 months. That's not the way it works. I'm not in favor of it. I'm in favor of it being terminated in the fashion in which it was agreed upon by the Economic Development Corporation and the individual lease.
Crystal, was that your opinion, or is that what actually happened, that he didn't get the contract he was looking for?
That is what we were told.
Okay. So Charlie, what you thinking? You seen the lease?
Oh, yes, I reviewed the lease. I don't disagree with Director Doucette. They've signed a lease. They've bound themselves to that lease. If the board would like to offer them an opportunity to find someone to take that lease off their hands or to sublease it, or if the board would be willing to negotiate, and we can have, if you're wanting me to assist in this, we can go in closed session and have a broader discussion.
Okay.
If you choose. Or you could negotiate an out if that's what you want to do, where they pay a certain amount of dollars up front, but that's up to this board.
I'll make a motion that we hold this item until after the executive session.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed, or in a closed session. Discuss and consider board president appointing a committee to develop a performance evaluation criteria for the position of chief CEO requested by Vice President Christopher Smith.
Okay. This recommendation.
Oh, wait a minute.
Go ahead.
So move.
Second.
No discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go.
No, I don't have nothing. She just a move. It's been set. So let's move forward.
No, we got new rules.
This is our procedure.
No,
Oh, okay.
no.
Now you can discuss. We gotta bring it to the floor first. And then we can discuss.
No, well, guess what? That's what kind of we was confused before because we wasn't following procedures.
Okay.
You bring an item to the floor, once the item's on, then anybody could discuss it.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, so the context behind this is we want to make sure that we provide clear guidance to our new CEO as far as the things that we feel he should know about how we want to move the efficacy around the city and what we want the city to do, how we want to support the city. And, you know, as you look at coming into a new role, as anybody coming in a new role, I want to know what my expectations are. So I can know if I'm meeting them, or I'm exceeding them, or I'm falling below the standard. So I think it is only fair that we set a committee to set that guidance and set that precedence forward so that the new CEO will know how we want him to take in consideration what we think we need to do to make sure that we meet our expectations.
I don't know where we're coming with an evaluation like this. I think what you're talking about may be us meeting and talking about some of the things we would like to see, and he taking them. When we're talking about evaluation, then we should have an evaluation where we evaluate him, and those evaluations normally in line with duties and responsibilities and or any special project or any special thing that we're giving him, because during a period of evaluation, we may have designated certain projects or certain things for him to do. And then when we do an evaluation on him, on his duties and responsibilities, then we will incorporate that during that period of time. But he's coming in, he has duties and responsibilities. And those duties and responsibilities as the CEO is there, and he's supposed to perform those, and then we evaluate him. Normally, a person is given a 6 months evaluation, and that you can really take a look at what they do and how they done. And if there's anything that we need to incorporate, we can incorporate. Another thing that can help in the beginning is the fact that we can make sure that we have an evaluation sheet on which he's going to be evaluated annually, and he's given that sheet so he has an idea on what we look at and what we are going to evaluate him on. Now that's an evaluation, you know, and stuff. That's he's coming in. It's pretty hard to come up with these directives and stuff, because right now I think the first thing he has to really do is do his duties and responsibilities as outlined in the chart in the bylaws, you know, and that's what we pay him to do. We pay him to do that. And those things we should have in a form of evaluation. So if there's something that we need to have him to pay particular attention to that is not spelled out in his duties and responsibilities, and those are things that we should issue as directives, or we should issue a special project or something of that nature. So I don't see what.
Do we have a tool that we can use to benchmark that with?
Well, you don't benchmark anything, Christopher, unless it's a project, you know, something we give him specifically that we want done in a specific time, you know. But as far as him doing his duties are outlined in our bylaws. Evaluation there should be a form, whether we need to revise it or not. there should be an evaluation form right now from previous CEOs. So that can be given to him now so that he can incorporate that with what's written in the bylaws. And then we can set the 6 months, because that's normally what happens when someone come in new. Instead of having the annual, you do a 6 months evaluation, and then from that point on, you do annual evaluation. But I don't know what else we could do at this time.
So did include the evaluation form in our packet. So what
I saw it.
Yeah. we
Yeah,
saw
I saw
that.
it.
Is this from
Yeah.
the city or is this from our?
No, economic development.
The one that you have in your packet is the
Okay,
one
and
we've
you-
used
and
in the
you wanna
past.
add- You want to add or subtract from that?
Right.
Is that correct?
You see, that's what we can do. We can look at this and we can do a workshop on it where it could be what our expectation and what you're saying, Chris, okay? But it'll be incorporated in this, you know? And then when he has a copy of it, he pretty much knows what we're gonna look at and what we'll be evaluating come evaluation time.
And I think you said it, best, Commissioner. You said is that we need to probably set a committee to review this and evaluate.
There we go.
And-
There we go.
And make the adjustment we feel.
There you go.
Set a rule for him to go by.
Now, that's what we're talking about. So, part of his coming in, we also can give him this, and then along with his duties that's outlined in our bylaws, he also knows when we're gonna evaluate you, by the way, we're gonna be using this form. So when he's doing his duties, then he knows he could make sure that I'm doing all these, if nothing else. If nothing else, I'm gonna do this because this is what they said they're gonna evaluate me on. And I think he will be pretty much aware of specific what we're gonna be looking at, and it'll work out okay.
Well, Mr. Doucette, since you did this for sure, you did this for sure for the city, for the city manager.
He brought it up.
Well, yeah, but he's on the committee, and could you help him with it?
I can help him if he's gonna chair it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll work with Commissioner
Yeah.
Smith, but you're not gonna get me with them because I brought something up.
No, I'm comfortable with that.
Okay,
So
Yeah,
y'all
I'll
two
work.
can do it?
I'll work with him.
Well,
three?
Well, there were three people that I
Okay.
think, wanted to be a part of this because it can't be just me.
Uh,
And if he's advising, I still need two other people to.
Let's get Darryl, because Darryl been on here the longest. If he doesn't mind, we'll let him come. Okay.
you?
So, yeah, I'll serve with Darryl. and
That's three?
Chris.
And also,
can only be
we
three.
We want to make sure you want to include Commissioner Connors on there as well.
Okay, that's for, hey, more the better.
We can only have, unless you're gonna post a meeting, you can only have 3.
Absolutely, but see, I think Commissioner Doucette is gonna be an advisor, he's not gonna be a part of it.
That's still a quorum
Okay.
of the
Still a
body.
quorum.
Well, that's okay, Darryl, you and Carl.
No, I'd rather you, Mr. Doucette. You really know how to do that.
So my question, Father,
All right, I'm
is
gonna
this:
get you back.
if he's
Us
not,
three.
if Commissioner Doucette is not present in our meetings and/or have visibility of what we're talking about in those meetings, we cannot consult with him?
No, sir. No, because then you're talking about the subject matter of the body with a quorum.
Okay,
Okay.
So-
I'll be on it, Chris, I'll be on
okay.
it.
So,
Well, we don't, because somebody got dropped in, because you said we can only have.
No,
oh,
Ms. Connors says she's right.
she dropping out like a hot potato.
And
who we got? Darryl, you and me.
Yes,
Okay, and you chair.
right.
All right now. We cool.
You're,
all
Director
good.
Smith, you're the chair.
Right, right. Yeah, that's it. It's easy.
Okay, can we get a vote on that?
Sure. I'll make a motion that we have the committee to take a look at and revise the CEO's evaluation form, and that committee be comprised of Christopher Smith as the chairperson, and myself, Harold Doucette, and Commissioner Darrell Anderson as part of the committee.
One additional question. We were thinking about having this consultation from a evaluation standpoint by having the City of Port Arthur HR department to be a part of that advisory group. Are we not doing that?
No. We need to work over here.
Okay,
Okay, we need to work over here. We need to forget about the city of Port Arthur.
just want to make sure.
Okay?
Okay.
No.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Thank you all for participating. Discuss, number 12, discuss and consider the agreement of professional services and employment as CEO of the Port Arthur 4A Economic Development Corporation.
Second.
Got a motion second. Any comments?
Sir, this agreement has a minor change to your chief executive agreement as to the
Severance.
severance pay. Charlie, do
You
you
want me
want
to explain it?
elaborate on that?
Yeah, I'll explain it. So the
Please.
previously was 6 months severance. The city requested that be revised to be, I believe, initially 1 month or 3 months.
A month per year.
Yeah, a month pay for every year served. So it eventually work up to 6 months. And the city requested that. Our applicant was okay with it. The document has been executed, needs to be ratified by y'all, and then tomorrow the city council, I believe. No, city council approved it with that change. So with this approval, we'll be done.
This is, we're in-house here.
Yep.
Harold?
I don't like to delay any actions for no month. That's really laid out. But in the future, I will not vote on an item that has been voted on by council before it's voted on us. I will not do that in the future. CEO, new CEO, he's sitting and listening. I hope you're listening. Crystal, I hope you're listening. We do not vote and approve items after council. Nothing goes to council unless it's approved by us. Not again. I'll do it this time for time. But I will not vote for it. That's not the way this works. It's not legal.
Legal.
What, Charlie? Okay.
sir.
How is it legal for the council to approve something that have not been submitted by this board?
Well, city council approves all expenditures. This is an expenditure. They said they would not approve this particular expenditure unless it was changed to read this way. So they approved it.
Okay.
So it's come back to y'all, and y'all can approve it, and we can be done. That's legal to do it that way. There's a difference between legal to do it that way and a different process.
Process that I would expect is that they say, no, we would like to see this. And it comes back here. And we consider that.
I don't
And
disagree.
then we vote.
Yeah, no, sir, I don't disagree with
Okay.
it. That from a process standpoint, that might be the better process, but it's also
Right.
my understanding y'all did not want to delay
No.
hiring a CEO for another
But
30
guess what?
days. Yeah.
I just said, I can go along with things for time.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to delay actions because we meet once a month. But we need to establish before it comes back.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm not in favor of ever voting for anything that this board don't approve.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
One more thing to add. The contract, you an attorney, City of Port Arthur attorney, along with yourself, went over the contract. So why did they decide to make these changes at the city council meeting?
I don't know. I wasn't
Because y'all had
present.
went over it already.
No, ma'am, I wasn't present at the meeting. All I know is I got a call. I think I got a call from the city attorney, or did you let me? Somebody let me know that's what they wanted. I reached out to the city attorney. I think I reached out to the city attorney, and she let me know that those were the changes that the city council approved. And so I wordsmithed it and sent it to the city attorney. The city attorney said she was comfortable with it based on the approval of the city council, and that's how we got where we are. But I wasn't present at the meeting, so I don't know what their discussion was.
Saying is that you and the attorney had already discussed the contract before the meeting, am I correct?
No, ma'am, we did not discuss the contract
Okay.
before the meeting. I had sent the contract to the city attorney's office. I mean, generally, we had discussed. There was a couple minor things that were non-substantive in nature that she wanted to see revised, which I did. But the substantive change was not discussed. The substance and the policy issues, no, ma'am, they were not discussed.
I want to work with the city. You know, we have to work together and we have to respect one another, okay? But there's a system in place. You know, we make decisions down here and we send it to them for their final approval. They can say yeah or nay. And if they don't agree with what we send to it, you know, I would like to see it come back to us so we could know, so we could consider the changes. And like I said, in most cases, we're going to always work with the city, but there are certain things that we should decide on as the board. That's why we're here. And until we show that we are incompetent, then we should be given that right. That's the way the bylaws read. That's why 504 reads, you know, it's a process. It goes from this board to the council having the final approval. I'm very sensitive about that. And I'm also concerned about time frame. We meet once a month. So I don't ever want to just say, no, we ain't gonna do it because you can't do it. But we need to make understanding so we could go forward, so everything go forward can be understood by all. And there's no disagreement or debate on any items.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carried. I was looking, I thought we had one more thing in here. Yeah, okay, we're gonna go into closed session,
So each one is different. So number one is an economic development deal or real economic development incentive. So number one is an economic development incentive.
I'm sorry, number one is retail. Real estate.
Real estate. Number one is a real estate exception. The second is economic development. And the
Number
third
10.
and number 10 is consultation with attorney. So if you'll read each of those, and then the first one afterwards say into closed session to discuss real estate. The second one to go into closed session to discuss economic development. And number 10 for consultation with attorney. So each one independent with those reasons, and then the
Okay,
time.
closed meeting, okay. Number one, to discuss and consider a letter of intent from Mid-County Plaza LLC, and that is for real estate.
Yes, sir.
Number two, discuss and consider an economic development for MPW, Industrial Water Services, and that is for
Economic development.
economic development.
And then number 10,
And number 10, discuss and consider the lease agreement of Suite 321 at 501 Proctor Street with Gulf Stone Environmental Services LLC.
Consultation with
Consultation. Okay. Oh,
Perfect.
and also, now how
what
about,
time is it?
how about this number one back here to discuss matter of personnel? No.
Which one?
That's
Oh,
all
and the
the time.
last one? Okay, all right. So there is a personnel item to discuss? Okay.
What? Oh,
Yeah, and you need to read that. one,
Section
too.
551074 Government Code to discuss matters of personnel.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Time.
Time. 7 o'clock. Can we get a roll call? Please?
Carol Anderson. Beverly Raymond. Christopher Smith. Ellen Clark. Harold Doucette. Jerry LeBeau.
Here?
Rhonda Connor. You have a quorum.
Okay, we come out of closed session with nothing to vote on,
What time is it?
7:40.
Okay.
And,
You wanna make a motion?
motion to
adjourn.
close.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Good night.
Thank y'all for coming.